Welcome into the Dynasty review for the New York Giants. The 2023 season is over. It's January 10th. Playoffs are coming up. Obviously not for most of the or all these teams we're talking about now. We got the New York Giants just kind of diving in, seeing what's changed with a lot of these players since the beginning of the 2023 season. A lot has changed. So, Brian, what do you think of the New York Giants? Are they another team that's kind of disappointing to you, or did you kind of expect them to be in this range of top 6 worst team in the NFL?
I can't say I'm entirely surprised, and that's for sure. But I think everyone kind of wanted the Giants to be a little better. Well, not everyone, but I don't know. They just, they're just a nightmare of a team right now. Like, why do we got to do the Chargers and the Giants back to back?
Right.
Are we going in draft order?
So the first few videos we started, it was more about because we started recording before week 18, and so the couple of teams I chose before them was like, all right, I don't think much is going to change from week 18. Like the Panthers didn't have their number 1 pick and all that. So now we are going in draft order. Yes. So
I just realized that here live on the air.
Yeah. Just starting these last 2 videos. Well, kind of Patriots and then Chargers, Giants. But yeah, anyways, the Giants are 6. They were 6-11. Kind of, we're winning some games there at the end with Tommy Cutlets or Danny DeVito, whatever you want to call him. Obviously, their head coach is not going to change. Brian Daboll will be there for another year. They have some decent cap space, $37 million, which is 15th most. And all those cap space numbers will change because people adjust contracts, cut people, blah, blah, blah. But as of now, they have the 15th most. They have the 6th pick in the draft. So, there was a lot of rumors of, are they going to take a quarterback? Now they're kind of out of that range of at least the top 3 most likely. But, does a 4th quarterback make it up this high? We will see. In terms of free agents, Tyrod is out most likely unless they bring him back. Saquon is a free agent. They could franchise tag him. And that's really it. I mean, Matt Breida, Paris Campbell, Sterling Shepard. These guys probably aren't really around. Maybe Matt Breida was because he was the backup to Saquon, but probably not anymore. I don't even know. He feels like he's been around forever, and he's 40 years old. I don't even know how old he is. He's 28, so a lot younger than I thought. But yeah, we'll get into it with the quarterback situation. Will be interesting. Again, should be out of the range for the top 3. So Daniel Jones is going to be on this team next year, whether he's a backup or starter. We don't know. Obviously, you're holding him in Dynasty, but is this the perfect example? And I've mentioned it a couple times with a couple different players and positions of just when a guy has his best season 4 or 5 years into his career, you should probably sell him. Is this a case of that once again? Daniel Jones was probably never going to be as high as he was after 2022 when he finished top 7 or something, I think.
Yeah, I see him at 9 here. But again, our scoring is a little off.
Yeah.
9,
9, you're right. Yeah. And missed week 18.
So I don't know what was his value at that point, and because I see him at QB 23 now. I do see a big cliff of him falling off. That's probably when he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So he was basically just outside of a starting quarterback, going into the season, QB 14.
So last year, what are we in? 2024. Last year at this time, he was a top 50. He was QB 14, 15.
Yeah,
floating around there. QB 12, the highest.
Yeah. So I think, obviously, it just depends on I feel like people don't really like QB 12s necessarily, or they don't like Daniel Jones. So I don't know what you could have got for him at that point, but I don't know. I think Daniel Jones is actually a pretty good buy low in Superflex. Sorry, my throat's like drying out today. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, just as your QB3 maybe kind of thing. Like I'm seeing him valued as basically a late second round pick. And I guess it all depends on your team, right? Like if you need that quarterback 3, like I think he's all right in that respect. Like we did see 3 out of the 4 games that he played this year be really bad. But I mean, if you kind of look at it, it's like, okay, he played Dallas in the first week. So obviously, like, I don't know. Didn't they get shut out in that game too?
Yeah, they got destroyed.
Yeah, they couldn't get anything going. Then he was really good against Arizona. And then he played San Francisco, and I felt like they were still playing. Like they started off a little better than they kind of ended up. And they still ended up really good, obviously, defensively. And then the fourth game was against Seattle. And he got sacked 10 times in that game. So obviously, like the line's like a huge problem, and he's not a guy that you can just like put the team on his shoulders. And he doesn't really have receivers, So I know I'm making a lot of excuses for Daniel Jones, but I don't know. I don't think he's quite as bad. I mean, he's definitely not good. Well, I guess they should have started there. Like I'm very worried, but.
So you said potential buy low. Like what would you give up for him? Because according to Keep Trade Cut, it looks like pick 2.7, pick 2.8, 2.9. He's like, that's kind of where he's being straight up the value for, or even further than that. I keep going, pick 2.11 maybe. So would you trade a late second for him easily?
I think I would. Like if I'm a contending team, and I'm trying to think who is not going to have. I'm just trying to think like who's not going to have their job this coming year. I guess there might be a lot of guys. If you had like Mac Jones as like your QB3 or something like that going into this year. Who else is probably getting let go quarterback wise? Maybe Geno or something. Like I think I'd rather. What's that?
Yeah, Geno might be there. Like Desmond Ridder, I don't know. Like that's pretty far down.
Yeah. Well, we got to remember about Daniel Jones.
Sam Howell.
He just got paid a bunch of money. So I feel like they're almost like stuck with him, but maybe not. I mean, I guess, like I think if they don't make a move for a quarterback, then I think his value might go up a little bit. It's hard to say that too, because of all the guys that are above him. It's like, oh yeah, I would definitely take all of these guys above him. So I don't know. It's a little tough, but
he'll be on the team next year. He has a $47 million cap hit, but if you cut him, you have a dead cap of $70 million. So there's just no point, even if he's a backup for a year. They can get out. It was essentially a 2-year contract, so they can get out of it after 2024, which they almost assuredly will. So my biggest issue with Daniel Jones is like he looked like the third best quarterback that played for this team behind Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito. Like they looked so much better than him with the same weapons essentially, and things like that. Yeah, he did have some tough matchups in there and stuff, but you were paid to be a starting quarterback, and we've never seen him do it with his arm is another thing. I think we were talking about this with like redraft and stuff, and it's just like my only concern is like we've never seen him be a good passer, and you want to see at least to be an efficient passer and stuff. So yeah, I don't think it's terrible to send maybe a late second, early third for him and just hope he at least think about it. If you're just renting a quarterback for 2024, he's probably worth that just if you get him for 1 year, right? Like he's your QB 2/3 for 1 year. That's probably worth an early third round pick, right? I would say.
Yeah,
most likely. So. Yeah, in a super flex. So yeah, I don't hate it. But yeah, that's again, we learn lessons, and one of the things I'm learning is just like, yeah, when guys have their best looking season, 4 or 5 years into their career, it's like, might want to sell. Tyrod Taylor, I actually think he looked good the couple games he played at the end there. I think he's a decent hold for now. I picked him up in our Dynasty League just to see, like, all right, does he get somewhere where either he competes or he's going to be the clear-cut, like, number 2 guy? We obviously see, like, most QB2s should probably be rostered in super flexes as well. And he's one of those, like, he runs a little bit. I think he can be fine. What about DeVito? Are you holding DeVito as long as he's the backup to Daniel Jones, or you don't really care for him?
I don't really care. He did look good in some of his games. Well, I mean, looking good is like kind of, it's a little misleading. I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but I mean, fantasy wise, like he was definitely like serviceable as like a waiver wire guy in a lot of super flex leagues. So, but no, I don't think I'm holding him necessarily. Like I don't think really has much value unless you are kind of like what you're saying. Like if everyone's rostered, including backups in your league, then yeah, he's a solid hold. But yeah, it just kind of depends. You got to know your league.
Yep, for sure. Saquon is the other big talking point here. Going to be a free agent. I thought he actually played pretty well considering the situation he was on. Just double checking because I don't even know where he finished. Yeah, he finished his RB. No, that was last year.
12.
Okay, RB 12. So top 12, and he missed 3 games. Forgot that he missed 3 games. So he was more like what, RB 8 in points per game. So it's a good year for him. I think his value can still go up. Like, what if he gets the Christian McCaffrey role? So like he goes to a team and like Christian McCaffrey going to the 49ers is like, holy crap, you know? Like what if Saquon gets to a team? Like what if he goes to the Chiefs or I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs are always the default team, or the Ravens even, a team like that where it's just like, damn, like he's going to be the focal point of their offense. So he still could have RB1, overall potential. I think. I don't know if you feel the same about Saquon or not.
Yeah, I think I do like Saquon still. I still think he is like an elite level player. We just in general, like it doesn't seem like he's gonna be there next year. I think they have like kind of bigger fish to fry, and he is getting up there. He's been used a lot while he's in. Like obviously, like he missed some time here and there, but I think we still like he's an easy one to forget on how good he really is. Unless you're really watching it, he was like all they had on offense basically this year. So still 1,200 total yards and he even got 10 touchdowns on the Giants. That's amazing. Like that has to be like half the touchdowns the entire team made.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think if I do like Saquon, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Like, do you think it's even likely that he's there this coming year
for the Giants?
Yeah,
I think the only way he's there is if they franchise tag him. So, which they could, which would kind of suck. But I want to see him go to a team like, McCaffrey going to the 49ers, like, because I think he could be like that, So I'm just looking at the list, like, what if he goes to the Cowboys and they move on from Pollard? Like, that'd be awesome, What if he goes to the Eagles? Even like Miami, and they move on from like Mostert and they bring in Saquon or something, like the Ravens, the Bengals, and they move on from Mix. There's a lot of interesting teams I think that he could go to. So I don't know. I give it like a 30% chance.
The Vikings.
Yeah. 35% chance he's back with the Giants. So like a pretty good chance. But I don't want to see it. I want to see him move on for sure.
Yeah, go somewhere where he can be a part, like a big part of the offense, but not the entire offense.
Yep. Still only, he's going to turn 27 in like a month. So he still has a couple years left in the tank. Where is he in keep trade cut? Is he a top 15 guy still? Oh yeah,
he's 11 for running backs. I was kind of surprised to see him that high. Like, I just wasn't sure what the temperature was on him. Like, he's not a player that I've had managed like for the last like few years, so I'm just kind of like a little blind on him. Like, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he's ahead of James Cook, but maybe I shouldn't be entirely surprised. Like, I'd kind of put those same guys in the same category in terms of like value.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason you're putting James Cook ahead of him is because he's younger, right? Like, that would be the only, in my opinion.
And he's on a good team, and we know he's locked to that team for 2 more years, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But, yeah, Saquon is young. He's a young – you think he's older. Like James Cook's going to be 24. He's 24. They're about 2.5 years apart, which you think – it just feels like there's like a 4 or 5 year difference, right? Not a 2.5 year difference between the two.
I guess so. But Saquon started young, right?
Yeah, so, for sure. He got used a lot in college. No one. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Eric Gray is another guy that I had on that Dynasty stash video. Kind of the same logic for like Elijah Dotson. It's like, all right, well, Mac Breida is probably gone. Saquon potentially gone. They drafted Eric Gray in the 5th round. He has a pretty good profile. Like, I kind of liked him coming out of college as like he's a pass catcher. Caught a lot of passes in college. So 33 in his last year in college, which is a lot for college football. So, a guy that just his value could just bump up just due to the moves that the teams do or don't make. So I'd hold on to him if he's out there, just stash him, drop. If you had Matt Breida, like drop him and pick up Eric Gray, see what happens. Receivers, anything like who do you want out of all these guys? I think it comes down to Slayton, Wandale, and Hyatt.
Yeah,
who would you choose out of those 3?
I'd probably go. I don't want Wandale. Probably Hyatt, I guess. Just kind of like, just try out the new toy kind of a thing. Like, see what happens with him. Was he drafted in the 2nd round or the 3rd round?
3rd round, 3rd or 4th.
Oh, okay. I didn't think he was that low, but there was obviously a lot of hype around him, like, just because it's like, well, there's no established wide receiver 1 on the team. Just kind of like, I feel like it's kind of a burn to Sterling Shepard, even though like he obviously like was. I don't even know what the hell happened to him this year, but I always felt like he was the number 1 guy on the team. Or no, sorry, not Sterling Shepard. Who am I thinking of?
Slayton. Slayton's been there like top receiver like for the last 5 years or something.
Yeah,
like
it is Slayton. I was looking at the depth chart, and they're like right next to each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like a burn on him, where it's like they don't have a number 1 guy, and it's like just because he doesn't do well doesn't mean he's not like their main guy. Yeah, but I guess that's not really saying much on this team. But no, yeah, I'd go with Hyatt, go with the new guy, just on like pure youth, basically, because you're right. Like, we have seen Slayton be the best guy on the team, but it's never amounted to anything, not even startable. So spot start for sure, but I don't know. I'd rather take the lottery ticket on the young guy and see if he turns into anything.
Yeah, I'll take Wandale as the guy. I don't think, me personally, I wasn't a big Hyatt fan coming out of college. I don't think he's going to be much more than just like a stretch the field, deep threat guy that you can just never, like, for best ball, he might be good, but you can never consistently rely on. Wandale, he's a pretty high 2nd round pick. He made it into like 43rd overall. So, if you're not a 1st round pick, if you're in that top 40 to 45, numbers show like there's not a huge amount of difference between receivers drafted from like 20th overall to 45th. Like, they all kind of have a very similar hit rate. So I still think he can be good. He was coming off a major injury last year. in 2022. I think he tore his ACL and then was coming back from that. Kind of a merry-go-round of quarterbacks there, and he started to look decent at the end there. So I still think he can be, if they can get a consistent quarterback play there, I think he could be solid. He was wide receiver 28 from week 14 to 18, which is, only a 5-game stretch. But I feel like at that point, you're coming back from your ACL tear. He wasn't playing full time until about week 12, 12. They had a bye in week 13. Yeah, so week 12, he started to play more full time. So I'll still take Wan'Dale. I think he could just be like a solid PPR, kind of like a Demario Douglas type of player. I think he's a little more explosive and stuff like that. So they just need kind of consistent quarterback play. Waller.
Yeah, Waller. I mean, I guess, wow, he must have fallen quite a bit. Where's my tight end ranking?
I see tight end 23. I don't know where he fell from, but
wow, he's all the way down there, huh?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. He's behind Dulcich and Otten and stuff. I guess that's just like youth. He's even behind Kraft. I guess that's given how he finished. I'd definitely take Waller over all those guys.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really know, what to say about Waller, as far as, man, I feel like we're kind of chasing that one season. I guess it was 2 seasons where he was really good, with the Raiders. So, I don't know. We did see him involved when he was healthy. He was, basically the most targeted guy on the team, maybe outside of Saquon. I don't know. He's got decent numbers for a tight end as far as they want to get him involved. They paid him. So yeah, I think he's a solid hold. I don't think you're getting. Well, I don't know. I mean, if this is the consensus, if that's what we're going off of, I would definitely trade one of those guys. We just said Chigokonkwo, even. Yeah, I would trade all those guys for Waller.
Yeah, I would too. Tucker Kraft, Kate Otten, Dulcich, Chig, all those guys. Musgrave, I'd even do it. Just if you're gonna give me something plus for Musgrave, or you're gonna give me a third in Waller for Musgrave, I'll take it. I think Waller, he was still tied in 14 in points per game this year, and that I assume week 8 he left early because he had 0.8 points or something, and I know that's when he didn't play a few games after that. So 23% of the snaps. So that's even with 2 games where he played less than 40% essentially of the snaps, still tied in 14. He's just,
and with no touchdown upside on this team as it stands, kind of, until they can kind of protect Daniel Jones a little bit better. But yeah, it's definitely he's definitely competing with Saquon for some short area stuff, which that's tough competition, but
maybe not next year though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. We don't know what's happening next year. So
yep,
we'll see.
Yeah, no, I would definitely, if someone wants to throw him in because they like any of those tight ends, we said, if you go to keep trade cut and just look at it, even freaking Isaiah Likely, I
didn't even see him.
Yeah, I like him, but I just don't know how they're going to use him when Andrews is back. If someone really wants Likely, throw me a 2nd-round pick and give me Waller, and I'll just roll with Waller. At the end of the day, even if Likely's better, it's not going to be that much better than what Waller, if they're both healthy, that is. But that is a big concern with Waller, so can't just completely ignore that. He hasn't been healthy for 3 straight years now, right? So, and he's old. He's 30, 31. He'll be 32. So there is that to consider. But yeah, I think they do have a potential out on his contract. So maybe he even gets into a better situation, right? Yep. Anything else?
No, I was going to say go to the Panthers.
Oh God, yeah, Panthers. Go to the Falcons. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else with the Giants? Curious to see what they do if they try and move up for a quarterback, or if again, I've seen mocks where there's 6 quarterbacks going in the first round. I've seen one where there's 6 going in like the top 12 picks. So they're one of those teams that I wouldn't be surprised if they take one. But yeah, any last words with the Giants?
No, I think they're kind of like we said about a couple of these guys. It's like I would buy them kind of at their current value, but you might even be able to get them a little less. And like honestly, their current value is not very much in general. The 3 main guys. Well, I guess outside of Saquon, let's just say Waller and Daniel Jones. Like, I think what we're seeing on Keep Trade Cut is like I'd totally pay that. Like, so I think they're a decent buy low team. Not that I think they're going to be any good next year all of a sudden, but I think the main pieces of that team are startable, especially in a pinch.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely a sour taste around the whole team. So
yeah, buy that shit.
Buy it. Yeah, we'll be back with the Tennessee Titans who fired their coach. So yeah, we'll be a lot to talk about with that team, I think. So we'll be back with them. As always, like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys next time.